Okay, here we go. Let's see how this one works. How we doing, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching live, thanks for watching live. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for that. If anyone's in the comments, if you can just let me know if you can see and hear me okay, that would be great. Let me just jump over and have a look. So we've got Cheekster in the chat. How are we doing, Cheekster? Give me a wee thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Wait, I can't see that. Where are we here? I've moved the monitors here and I thought it was a better setup, but now I realise I can't actually see the comments properly, so I'm going to slide the window over. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. Right, perfect. Yes, can see and hear all good. Brilliant, thanks very much. Okay, so something I was wanting to test out on this month's live stream is there is a new plugin for showing the comments, which I think is working. So it should actually show with a different font and background than the standard one. So let me know if that's showing up like that for you guys. But yeah, let's have a quick look in the chat, see what's happening. So we've got Cheekster just saying hello. How we doing? The Deadpool and Wolverine vinyl looks dope AF. It does indeed. Thank you very much. Let's show that. So yeah, that's the double album. It's over there. The vinyl soundtrack for. Wait, hang on. Wilkie's saying that the. Let me skip ahead here. Might just be me, but the volume seems a little bit low. Okay, let me have a wee look here. Do you know what? I think you're actually right. I'm looking at the levels and it does seem a little bit low. Give me 2 seconds. Right, whoa, kind of went a wee bit right there. That should be a little bit better. Let me know if that's any better or not. Yeah, the Deadpool and Wolverine vinyl that's over there, that is dope AF, as you said, Cheekster. With a little bit of an asterisk next to that. I mentioned this in the unboxing video that I did. That's, I think, is the most recent video on the channel. Yes, the Deadpool and Wolverine vinyl is dope AF, but it doesn't have the Madonna track Like a Prayer on it, which is a huge loss. And it's one of the reasons where you're like, well, you know, physical media versus, you know, streaming. The excuse me, the playlists for the soundtrack have the Madonna song on Spotify, like the unofficial playlists have it on Spotify because that's easily there. But the vinyl release, and I'm assuming the CD release, doesn't, because various rights issues and whatnot. So as cool as this soundtrack is, the fact that it doesn't have the Madonna track on it is a bit of a loss. I didn't actually know that when I bought it. I just, you know, as soon as the pre-order came up, I was like, take my money. It wasn't until I was unboxing it, I literally looked at the track listing and I thought, oh crap, it doesn't have the Madonna track on it. And that's like, you know, one of the main songs used in the movie. It was used in the marketing. Yeah, pretty disappointing. And it's, you know, it's a rare checkbox against physical media because, like I said, Spotify has Like a Prayer. The Spotify playlists for the movie have Madonna's Like a Prayer. But the physical releases don't. Anyway, yeah, let's crack on through. Test working, buddy. Thanks very much, Cheekster. Keep saying, but I must update my Letterboxd for 2024. You should. It's a great app, as I say every month. I am not sponsored by Letterboxd, but I would like to be. It's just really good for keeping track of everything that you watch, for like writing, like, I kind of write review notes on Letterboxd, and then if and when I do a full-on review of a movie, I'll kind of copy and paste the transcript of that video onto my Letterboxd page. But I like Letterboxd just to keep track of what I watched, kind of give it a general star rating. Although Letterboxd is 5 out of 10, and I usually give my movies scores 10 out of 10. But you know, math. But yeah, it's just good for keeping track of what you watch, because the older we get, the more that goes. But yeah, so update your Letterboxd. Barely watched any movies, but I'm up to 40 at the moment. Oh, that's a good point. How many am I up to? Let me have a look at my Letterboxd. Does it tell you for the year how many you've watched? Where would I see that on Letterboxd? Hang on, let's have a look. Nope, that's not what I wanted to show. That's what I wanted to show. Lists? No. Where would it be? Profile. Activity. Films? Oh, I don't know. We'll come back to that. Anyway, yeah, we'll come back to that. Terminator 30th anniversary in 4K plus new Dolby Atmos audio personally approved by James Cameron August 29th, aka Judgment Day. Double bill again at Terminator 2 at the Prince Charles Cinema. That would be awesome. I'll need to actually check if they're doing any screenings on August 29th anywhere near me, because that would be cool. I remember they did a year or two ago at Cineworld. They showed excuse me, they showed Terminator 2, but I did get a chance to see it, but I would love to see that in the cinema. The air horns remind me of tracks from the 80s, 90s and 90s. Yeah, it's again, I've moved everything and I didn't really think I've put some stuff out of reach, so my audio mixer, which is like, I need to lean over here to get to it, so we won't be playing with any of the bells and whistles on that. Just as long as you guys can hear me, you know, we'll leave it at that. Let's see who else in the chat we've got. Corey, how we doing, buddy? What time is it over there? It must be quite late. No, you're behind us. It's probably like, what, lunchtime for you? Do you not normally do a lunchtime live? Are you doing both? That would be cool. Let's see. New font for the comments looks great. Brilliant, so that does work. I wasn't sure if that was going to translate to everyone else or if that was just going to show here. I'll put a link in the description for anyone that's interested, or you can DM me on Insta. The setup that I use for that. This was something I was kind of testing for a corporate client of mine. They wanted their branding for their YouTube live comments, and I was like, I don't know if that's possible, but let me look into it. And turns out it is possible. So yeah, anyone who cares about that, let me know and I can send you the info. Had to turn the volume up also. Wait, improved audio level. Brilliant. Thanks very much, guys. Let me know if it dips again. The legend is live. How we doing, Mike? How many crap movies have you watched lately so that we don't have to? Because that's a service that is underrated, and we thank you. Where is Madonna's iconic track? I know it's pretty what's the word? Egregious, disappointing, upsetting, crap that it's not included. Yeah, Madonna's track is not included on the otherwise awesome Deadpool and Wolverine soundtrack. But yeah, there you go. Incomplete. Yep, that is incomplete, sadly. Let me see if I can bring this over a wee bit further so I can see. Yeah, that's better. Excellent. Okay. Let's see. Wilkie says it is 1500 for him just now. 1500 military time. I like it. Wait. Oh no. The comment thing has disappeared. No. Let me bring it back. Cut back to me. There we go. Where did it go? Where did it go? There it is. Brilliant. 3 p.m. Excellent. Mike says he's watched 3 bad movies recently. Gracie and Pedro, The Inheritance, and American Psycho 2. Oh, that's right. I forgot they made it American Psycho 2. Is it with, what's her name? The girl from that 70s. She married Ashton Kutcher. She's in the Ted movies. Someone in the comments help me out. What's her name? I keep wanting to say Mia something, but it's not Mia something. What is it? Help me out, guys. Who is it? What's her name? And Mia Kunis. Mia Kunis. There you go. Mia Kunis. Oh, that's actually a good thing I want to test just now as well, while you guys are active in the chat. With this new latency protocol on YouTube. I'm wanting to see how long it takes for a comment to come in. So I'm going to set a stopwatch on my phone, and when I say go, where's the stopwatch? Stopwatch. So let's think of a random word to put in the comments. Okay, when I say go, someone type apples in the comments. Go. And we'll see how long that takes. How long does it take for apples to come through in the comments? So I think YouTube latency, even when you're... Oh, stop. Ooh, that's not bad. 12 and a half seconds. 12 seconds and 12.3 seconds. That's not bad latency for YouTube Live. That's pretty good. And that's not using... It's getting a bit geeky here and a bit technical. That's not using the new SRT protocol. That's using just the standard ultra low latency setting that you can do, still streaming using RTMP. Anyway, that's a bit geeky and techy, but 12 and a half seconds is pretty decent. I like that. So let's jump straight on to apples. Yes, thanks very much, Mike. Let's go straight on to... I keep hitting the wrong button. Don't want to show the green. I want to show this, Letterboxd. So let's have a look at what I watched in the month of July. So the first movie I watched... Oh, where's my split screen gone? Hang on, guys. Right, I'm going to cut back to me while I attempt to put on the split screen that I forgot to set up before. Right, so if we put split screen on, that's not what we want. Let's go back to this. Right. So we want that. And box 3, we want it. Sorry guys, talk amongst yourselves while I do this random bit of techiness. Right, so box 1, we want to be my pretty face. Box 2, we want to be monitor 2. And the art, we want to be media player 1. Let's see, did that work? Almost. Let's cut back to this while I mess about with this. Do you know what? Let's just do it live. Okay, so here is the split screen that I'm trying to change. So I want the background to be my wee Scottish Geek Guy logo there. But we want it to be without the text. There we go. We've lost the text. Excellent. Let me go back into it. Now we don't need the 3 windows, we just need the 2 windows. So let's take away window number 3 and let's make me a little bit smaller over there. And then let's make this window a little bit bigger and fill the screen. Come on, there we go. Nearly got it. Make it bigger. Yeah, and then we'll just make me a wee bit smaller, I suppose. Yeah, I think that's... yeah, that'll do. Excellent. Thanks very much for bearing with me, guys. So, Cheekster's asking, what was that via streaming service, Aliens Expanded documentary? No and yes. So it is an Aliens documentary. It's not on streaming. It was actually a crowd-funded documentary. I have did my notes to do a full review of it, so I probably will put that up hopefully within the next week or 2. So I won't go into too much detail here. But yeah, as I said here, it is a 4.5-hour documentary about aliens. Hell yeah. So it's not on any streaming service. It's a crowd-funded project that you can pay for. You can get a digital download, or you can buy the Blu-ray and there's merch bundles with T-shirts and posters and things like that. It's not for anyone who's not a huge fan of aliens, but it is awesome. I'll leave it at that because I am going to do a full-on review for it but it is awesome. If you're a fan of aliens, you'll like this. If you are a fan of the RoboDoc documentary that came out last year, I think, I don't think it was made by the same people, but it's kind of in that vein of like an independent, but I don't want to say fan made, so it's not fan made. I mean, well, they are fans, but it's the production value is like, broadcast quality, like, as if it was going on streaming. So it's not a low quality documentary. It's a really good documentary, but it is 4.5 hours long. So it's only if you're a huge fan of aliens, which I am. So I was happy to watch that. But yeah, I'll go into more detail when I do a full review of that. Let's move on. Let's take away this comment. Does that disappear? Excellent. That wee shortcut works. Brilliant. Apologies for the kind of tech random things here. I've mentioned this once or twice before, but I use these live streams to kind of test out some live stream techniques and things and software and plugins and whatnot before I take it to a paid job. So, you guys help me iron out the bugs. You guys are my guinea pigs, basically, so thank you for that. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, somebody else has just joined us. We've got Total Movie Recall. Evening, mate. Looking forward to hearing the extended thoughts on Aliens Expanded. Don't think I've heard of it. I'll need to get on it. Really hyped for Romulus. Yes, and yes. Yeah, again, I don't want to say too much here because I really do want to do a full review for it. I did take notes to do a full review, but I think I only managed to do one video review in July of Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was like the end of July. July is a busy month, just with the kids being off school, and it's a busy time of year for my industry. So sadly, I didn't get to record as many videos as I would have hoped, but I did get to still see a lot of movies, and that's what we're going to chat about. And yes, very much looking forward to Alien Romulus. Oh, did you guys see the Comic-Con footage where they had like the kind of the facehuggers like on remote controls, kind of running around the audience floor and stuff like that? That was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so one down, 20 odd to go. First movie I watched was Aliens Expanded, and then a couple of days later we watched The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. This was really good. I thought it was. Let me go back to my wee notes here. I thought it was a shame that they didn't. This didn't get a cinema release in the UK, which blows my mind. It's on Prime. Inglourious Bastards meets The Gentleman. Kind of what I wrote down there. Which is I would still stand by that. It's good to see Henry Cavill in a lead role again. I just think he's obviously been, it's hard to say what's happened behind the scenes because obviously no one knows apart from like him and the people behind the scenes, but like it seems like in 1 minute he was like, he's back as Superman and he's riding high as The Witcher, and then he's like, no he's not, and no he's not, and he's got the Warhammer thing that he's doing, but that's maybe not going to happen either, or there's been no news about it, at least anyway. I don't want that to like start a rumor or anything. Anyway, yeah. That was a shame, but I did really enjoy. I'll go back full screen. I did really enjoy Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Cavill was great in it. Jack Reacher was great in it. I know that Jack Reacher pretends to be an actor called Alan Ritchson, but he's just pretending. He's clearly Jack Reacher pretending to be Alan Ritchson. I mean Richardson. Anyway, the dude is Jack Reacher. Yeah, really enjoyed that. I would have loved to have saw that on the big screen, but it was straight to streaming. Jump back into the comments quickly. Movie Nerd this year. Hello, how are we? Is this Haley from TikTok? If it is, hello, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. Cheekster will be watching Alien Romulus in Dolby Cinema and IMAX with Laser GT. I'm convinced now that you are you're in the pocket of big cinema. You promote like. What is it you said? Not premium live events. That's what they call pay-per-views now in WWE. What is it? You call them again? Premium screen formats? Cheekster, help me out. What's he called them again? PLL, PLE, premium screen format? Anyway, you're very much a fan of them, which is great. Let me know which is your favourite, because obviously you've got various flavours of IMAX. You've got Dolby. You've got Super Screen. You've got Screen X and things like that. Yeah. Let me know what they're called again. You called them something. There was an abbreviation before. Let's see, what else do we have? I'll shall be watching both in-depth documentaries soon. Both. Oh, we're talking Robodoc and Aliens Expanded. Yep, they're both brilliant. I think Robodoc I think is on Amazon. The Aliens Expanded one, it's just been released, so I'm not sure if or when it'll be on streaming, because it was, as I said, it was a crowd-funded platform, crowd-funded project. But there we are. Premium large format. That's the phrase I couldn't remember. Yeah, I'm convinced you work for the premium large format, guys. Let's see. Movie Nerd. I broke the Signal 1 sale. Ooh. Is that just an American thing, maybe? Are you in the States, Movie Nerd? I don't know what Signal 1 is. Is that like Vinegar Syndrome or Arrow, maybe? Was a true story, the Ungentlemanly Warfare. Yeah, I remember kind of doing not a deep dive, but I did fall down like a little bit of a rabbit hole after we watched that. The main thing I always find funny is when you look at the pictures of the real life people compared to the pictures of the actors. You know, not that I'm saying, you know, any of them are ugly or anything like that, but it's, you know, clearly they're punching up for the actors, I would say, because they don't look anything like their counterparts. Yes. Can't remember what we're saying yes to, but yes indeed. Alien Romulus has expanded aspect ratio of 190. Ooh. In that case, I'll definitely go and check that out in my local IMAX, which is Scotland's only IMAX with laser at Glasgow Silverburn. So shout out to them. Silverburn, Glasgow, Cineworld. Sadly, one of our cinemas just got lost. One of our Cineworlds. They shut it down as part of their, trying to stay alive plan. Mike, who I don't know if you're still watching, Mike, did you see that? He actually just put up a video recently about Cineworld and about the fact that they're, in financial trouble and they're closing cinemas. I'll link to his video in the comment, but Mike, feel free to drop it in the. I'll link to his video in the description, but feel free to comment. Put that link in the comments, Mike. That's a good video about, from a movie fan's point of view, from a Cineworld users' point of view, about what Cineworld could do to, not go bust. It's not something that probably most people would think about, but like the movie goers, the fans of cinema, the fans of Cineworld, has a valid opinion on what you can potentially do to, save a little bit of money. No, it's a UK sale. Wait, let me go back up. What was it? Signal 1. I've never heard of Signal 1. I'll need to check that out. So you, I'm thinking your movie Mad. I completely misread your thing, thought it was Movie Nerd. I thought it was someone on TikTok who's called Movie Nerd. So you're not Haley, who's Movie Nerd on TikTok, Movie Mad. Apologies. Or maybe your name is Haley. That would be a coincidence. Range of Blu-rays from £5. That's not bad. But I had a referral code offering £10 for new customers. Put code on my channel and everyone was getting free Blu-rays. Ooh, is the code still valid? If so, I'll definitely be checking that one out. Hudson Hawk is one of their releases. I'm not a fan of Hudson Hawk. I remember watching it when it came out and just didn't like it. I think I was too young to get it at the time. I think when it came out, I was wanting a Bruce Willis action movie, and I got this weird comedy musical thing. Do you know, I don't, and I think I've only watched it maybe once since then. I'll maybe give it a rewatch. But I just remember as a kid, teenager, when did that come out? Early 90s? Wasn't a fan when it came out. Wasn't a fan when I rewatched it, maybe in the early noughties. But, now I've matured, maybe I'll like it a little bit more. Cheekster says, haha. Not sure what we're laughing at, but yes, haha. Okay, let's crack back on with the movie lists. So, what did I watch next? Let's go back. Inception. So, this one was interesting. I can't believe it's 14 or 15 years old. I think it still holds up really, really well. The hallway fight with the rotating thingy. I just love the concept. I think I remember the marketing for it when Inception was coming out. It was very, very vague. It's not based on an existing franchise. It's not based on an existing, on pre-existing intellectual property. It's a big budget action movie that didn't give all its secrets away in the trailer, and it delivers on the big budget action. Interestingly, though, like when those movies came out, so 14 years ago, so I'd have been like early 30s, late 20s, something like that. But I'm thinking Inception and latterly Interstellar. 10, 15 years ago, I was a bigger fan of Inception than I was of Interstellar. Now that I'm a decade or 15 years older, it's kind of flipped. Like, I really, really, really like Interstellar. I like Interstellar more 10, 15 years later, and I probably like Inception a little bit less. It's still great. It's still good. Like the whole, it's overly complicated, but it stays on the right side of, that line. Not like Tenet, which was just complicated for the sake of it. Pincer move, whatever they called it. Oh, Tenet annoyed me. Yeah, the hallway fight still jaw dropping, and Zimmer score. Oh, Time. That's an instant classic. I've been fortunate enough to go and see Hans Zimmer live. I think 3 times in my life now. Once in Manchester, once in, I think it was Glasgow. I think he did play Glasgow once, and once in Amsterdam. My brother took me to Amsterdam for my 40th a couple of years ago. Thank you very much for that. Part of that trip was going to see Hans Zimmer, and it was amazing. And he always, spoilers for the Hans Zimmer live show, at least the 3 times I've seen him, he always closes the show with Time, the Inception theme, and it's just goosebumps. I mean, there's, half of that show is just, me in goosebumps with tears, because it's such an emotional show, and just the music at the Hans Zimmer show is, well, obviously, you're going to be a fan of Hans Zimmer and movie scores if you go and pay money to see him live in concert. But the Hans Zimmer live concerts are, without a shadow of a doubt, and by a big, big margin, the best live music experiences I've ever been to. Yeah, so he closes with Time. That's like the encore. So does he do it like an encore? I think he does do it like an encore, but that's definitely the last song. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Let's jump back into the comments real quick here. Movie Mad. I took Pony Express. Is that a movie? Death Wraith 2000. It's £5, but training £10 for CX. So you can turn a wee bit of a profit. It's cool to watch the behind the scenes making of that hallway scene. It is. I remember just when the Blu-ray for Inception came out, I remember being almost as excited to watch the behind the scenes stuff as I was to watch the actual movie itself. Hype levels for Inception after Dark Knight were insane. That's very true. I forgot that, because it kind of like, Inception was in between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, I think. I wonder if it would have been done as well if the Dark Knight wasn't such a hit. Wonder if it would have been done. Oh, would have done as well. Yeah, that's a good point, mate. Would it have done as well if the Dark Knight was... I mean, it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in the lead, so that's enough to open a movie to big numbers, I'm sure. I think it probably would have, to be honest, because I can't remember the trailers in that much detail, but I don't know if they were marketed as like Christopher Nolan movie. I think they probably relied at least more or equally on the fact that it was, Leonardo DiCaprio in the lead. But yeah. As reference to you suggesting that I promote PLF. Sorry, mate, I was jumping back and forward with the comments. I've got a new comment chat overlay thingy here, which I think is much better. As I said, it gives you can change the font and the theme and things like that. But it's a new layout to get used to. Movie Mad took me about 10 watches to get through Inception. Ooh, 10 watches as in you weren't enjoying it, or 10 watches as in like you kept rewatching it to fully grasp the madness of the story. Movie Mad. I think I secretly wanted Tenet to be a sequel to Inception. I thought Nolan was doing a split on us. That would have been cool. I remember the first time I watched Split in that last scene, spoilers, when Bruce Willis is there in the diner and it's revealed that he's David Dunn, and it's revealed that Split is like within the same universe as Inception, and they're setting up a sequel. I was like, oh, I totally lost my shit with that. That was amazing. And then, Glass came out and it was a pile of pants. So that was a bit anticlimactic. But hey ho, there you go. Right, let's jump back into the list. Let's see. So after Inception, came home one day from work and the family was watching Cheaper by the Dozen 2. I'm still not sure if I've seen Cheaper by the Dozen 1, but this is one of those movies that I think all of the kids will, happily have on and kind of sit and watch. The older ones maybe just kind of like, they don't mind it being on in the background while they're playing their Switch or on their phone or something like that. But the youngest one and my partner are more than happy to sit and watch Cheaper by the Dozen 2 dozens and dozens and dozens of time. What did I say in my wee notes here? Yeah, everyone in my family loves these, and more than one occasion I'll come home from work and they'll be watching this. Today was one such day. It's okay. To be fair, I'll watch anything with Steve Martin or Eugene Levy. Is it Levy? Levi? Anyway, yeah, Steve Martin and Eugene Levy. Both legends. Hang on, Nick off. Excuse me. Yeah. Let's see. To understand it. Maybe I'm talking about Inception to understand it. Yeah, it's one of the, I'm not pretending that I understood it fully when I first watched it, but I'm okay not fully understanding it and just going with the flow. Each time I've watched it, I have picked up on more about it. But yeah, can't say that for Tenet. To be fair, I've only watched Tenet 1.5 times. Watched it once in the cinema, and then I think whenever it dropped on whatever streaming service it went on first, I did try to watch it again, but then I just gave up. It's one of the very, very, very few times I've deliberately stopped a movie halfway through and just not watched it again. Now, I don't think I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't seen it before, but I'd seen it before. I didn't like it. Wanted to give it another try. I tried to give it another try, but yeah, just didn't like it. Oh my God, I've only just noticed your Terminator reference tattoo. Oh yeah, that's is the screen mirrored? I don't know if the screen's mirrored, but no, wait, that's the wrong one. That's an Avengers tattoo. That's No Fate But What We Make. That's one of my 7 tattoos. Half of them are, no, more than half of them are movie. About half of them are movie references, yeah. So that's No Fate But What We Make. I wanted the No Fate to got the guy to I took a screenshot of the movie and I got the guy to copy the font of the bench that Sarah Connor kind of carves it in on the bench in Terminator 2. And then But What We Make is, will that focus on that if I hide my eyes? Nope, it's still focusing on my face if I hide my face, but then I can't see. Anyway, you get the idea. So No Fate is written in the kind of the carving from the bench, and then But What We Make is just the general Terminator font. Yeah, there we go. Got Tenet, still not watched it. Honestly, don't bother. I would say, I mean, if you run out of movies to watch, if you complete Netflix, as they say, or you complete your physical collection and you literally have nothing to watch, give it a go. But I didn't like it. I know some people did say they like it, but I think the overwhelming opinion is that it's probably Christopher Nolan's weakest movie. Certainly in my Nolan ranking. Ooh, there's an idea. Do a Christopher Nolan ranking. Tenet would definitely be last. What would be first in my Nolan? Oh yeah, Dark Knight. Dark Knight would absolutely be first. What would be second? Nope, not going to do that. We'll save that for maybe a different video. We'll do a Nolan ranking at a different time. Super dope tattoo. Thank you very much, buddy. Right, let's go back to the list. That same day, I think, so once I came back home and did like the second half, or the last 2/3 of Cheaper by the Dozen 2, and then we quickly decided to watch another movie. It's the summer holidays, kids get to stay up late. Chose to put on Coco. I think this is quite an underrated Pixar movie. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, I think Coco's a wee bit underrated. It's just impossible not to smile and sing along. Random tangent note, we're sitting watching Modern Family. My partner and my youngest love Modern Family, so they're sitting watching that. and Manny's dad, Gloria's ex-husband, were they married? I don't know if they were married in the show, but anyway, Manny's dad in Modern Family is played by the same actor who voices the guy, the singer in Coco. Is it Benjamin Bratt? I think his name is. Really good actor. He's not in that many things here, he's not in that many like massive projects. But so he plays Manny's dad in Modern Family, and he puts on kind of the same voice, like the kind of exaggerated Latino voice for that character as he does with the character in Coco. So I'd say to Beth, who's watching Modern Family, close your eyes and listen to Manny's dad, and who does that remind you of? And then it was like, that's Ernesto. Is it Ernesto de la Cruz? De la Cruz from, the main singer from Coco, who ends up being the bad guy in the end. Spoilers for Coco. Anyway, yeah, Coco, good movie. Kind of underrated, I think. Let's crack straight on. And then I finally got a chance to see Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. I was gutted I never saw this in the cinema. Not that I'm a massive MonsterVerse fan, but this is the kind of movie that, if you can see it, and I've just realised I'm kind of out of the frame a wee bit there. Let me put my stool down a wee bit. There's the wee lever. There we go. Yeah, just didn't get to see this in the cinema. Missed it. It's okay. It's kind of mindless fun. Let's see, what did it say here? Mindless fun like the previous one. At least Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong were a bit more aware of themselves, a bit more self-aware, and had their tongue in their cheek, kind of not like the 2014 Godzilla, the Gareth Edwards one. And then the snooze fest that was Monarch Legacy of Monsters, the kind of the TV show that's set within the same universe. And it's got Kurt Russell in it. Like, did anyone see Monarch Legacy of Monsters? Did anyone like it? I can't believe they spent that much time and effort and money, and they had such a good cast. Well, I mean, they had Kurt Russell in that show, and it just ended up being an absolute snooze fest. I watched it. The timeline kind of jumps about, but I think it's mainly set closer to the original 2014 Godzilla movie. But yeah, it was just it just wasn't great at all. But yeah, Godzilla X Kong was kind of good, mindless fun. What did I say in my notes here? Yeah, if you're going to have Kurt Russell in your show, speaking about Monarch Legacy of Monsters, if you're going to have Kurt Russell in your TV show, make a better TV show, because it's Kurt Russell. That's like a waste. Anyway, Monarch wasn't great. Godzilla X Kong was okay. Dan Stevens is clearly having a laugh, and that's enjoyable to watch. This one felt like more of a Kong-centric story than the last one. But yeah, I think I preferred Godzilla X Kong to Godzilla v Kong. But yeah, they're both kind of mindless fun. Let's jump in here. Sorry guys, keep coughing away here. Let me crack open again. I don't have the stereotypical Iron Brew for this stream. We're going on Coke Zero. So let's do some ASMR. We'll pour this. There we go. Let's jump back into the comments. Cheekster, Tenet at the Ronson Theatre in IMAX, 1570 IMAX was insane. One of the best IMAX experiences I've had. I didn't know they shot that in like old school IMAX like they did with Oppenheimer, or did they just like print it in that for distribution for a one-off? Half the movie was 1:43:1. Fair enough. Watched Godzilla X Kong in super screen at Cineworld, Silverburn. It was a mass. I didn't realise you were local as well, Cheekster. You're locally Glasgow. Wait, no, but I was talking about London screens. Do you just travel the UK going to premium large format cinemas? Because if you do, you should totally do a blog. Cineworld Silverburn has a massive 20 metre by 13. That's my local Cineworld in Silverburn. This was the first super screen in Scotland, 57 speaker Dolby Atmos with 37 amps. I was aware it was the first super screen, first laser. Well, it's not the first super screen in Scotland, but it is the first IMAX with laser. Although I'm not sure what the differentiator is there, because it used to be called super screen, and then I think they remodeled it and put in the IMAX laser, and then obviously advertised the fact it was IMAX laser. Agree, Monarch TV show was disappointing overall. Yeah, it was like, it was pretty boring. Anyway, let's move on. Take that comment off. So after Godzilla X Kong, what's next? As you can see here, we did a bit of an Avengers movie marathon. Now, we started with Age of Ultron because we had watched the first Avengers movie, I think, the previous month. So, Age of Ultron, let's jump into this. People say it's the worst of the 4 Avengers movies. But when I say worst, I think it's just, ranked 4th out of 4th. 4th out of 4th? 4th out of 4. So technically it is the worst, but it's still a good movie. It's actually my son Zach's, it's his favourite Avengers movie. He likes that even better than Infinity War. He likes it better than Endgame. He likes it better than the first Avengers movie. So I failed as a father, obviously. But we're working on it. But yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's just, it ranks 4th out of 4 for the Avengers movies. James Spader is brilliant as Ultron. I think that was excellent casting. There is some, having rewatched the MCU movies, or at least the Avengers movies and the main Cap Iron Man movies a good few times. There's a few things specifically with Cap that stand out as being a little bit not keeping with his character, because I think so all 3 Cap movies, so First Avenger, The Winter Soldier, Civil War, and then Infinity War and Endgame, they were all written by Marcus and McFeely. So there's a through line there with the character and with the writing. The first 2 Avengers movies were obviously written and directed by Joss Whedon. I know he's persona non grata these days, so we're not going to get into that. But just from a character writing point of view, I do think, I'm not saying he was right or wrong, but some of the character beats, that's the phrase I was looking for, some of the character beats for Captain America specifically in Avengers and in Avengers Age of Ultron for Cap seem a little bit off. Like when in the first Avengers movie, when he challenges Tony Stark to a fight, and he's saying, go put on the suit, we'll go a few rounds. That seems a little bit off for Cap, I thought. There was a couple of examples from Ultron as well, but I can't remember what they are. Anyway, I think having the same writers for the 3 Captain America movies and then the last 2 Avengers movies, Infinity War and Endgame, I think that definitely had a benefit of continuity of character for life. To put a wanky film student phrase in there. I think that's definitely a thing, though. I think that's definitely a thing. Apologies for the swear words for any kids that might be watching. I'll try and not do that. Movie Mads from Edinburgh. Brilliant. So you're definitely not Haley from America, from TikTok, who I thought you were. Hang on, something just fell down there. Oh, there we go. Watched Godzilla X Kong at Super Screen Leicester Square. Oh, I thought you said you watched it at Silverburn. I agree, it's not great, Age of Ultron. That's the thing. I still think it's a great movie. I still give it a solid 7. Still give it a solid 7 out of 10. But Ultron gets 7 or 7.5 out of 10. Infinity War and Endgame are 10 out of 10, and the first Avengers movie is an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I remember going to see the first Avengers movie in the cinema. I was lucky enough to go to the London premiere. My mate had won tickets, and from, I think it was a Cineworld competition. He'd won tickets, train down, accommodation and everything to go to the Avengers premiere. So I was there at the Westfield cinemas, because at that time, when was this, 2012, they were refurbing the Leicester Square cinema, so they had the premiere in Westfield down in London, and that was such a cool experience. We were literally the front row, or the second to front row, in the screen. The cast were there. I think all the cast apart from Chris Evans were there, which was disappointing. But yeah, that was a cool experience. Why am I telling that story? I forgot. Avengers, Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, directed by the Russo brothers, are going to be off the hook. Can't wait. Yeah, that's I'm a little bit kind of wary and trepidatious about that. When the rumor was coming, when the rumor was out a week or two ago that the Russo brothers were potentially coming back, let me say that one again, sorry. When the rumor broke that the Russo brothers were potentially coming back, I was a little bit kind of trepidatious and wary of that. More for them, to be honest, because I thought, like, if I'm them, I think they're probably financially set based on their previous work. Maybe not, who knows? But you would think it's not just a monetary decision for them to come back, even though apparently they're getting 80 million for the two movies, which is definitely a record for directors. But if I'm them and I've made Infinity War and Endgame, I'm thinking how and they bow out on the highest of highs. Like, they leave the MCU with Endgame, the best MCU movie and one of the best overall movies ever made, to then come back to do more after saying, did they ever say they wouldn't? Whether they did or they didn't. What am I trying to say here? What's the point I'm trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is, I think if I'm them, I would be like crippled with, like, fear of not living up to that hype, making something that's inferior to the last two movies that we did. I will be happily proved wrong when these movies come out. We'll see, I guess. We'll see. 80 million salary for directors per movie. So they're getting 80 million per movie. So 40 million each for Doomsday and then 40 million each for Secret Wars. Wow. That's a huge chunk of change. And Robert Downey Jr. is a big reason why both have signed on. I get that. I'm kind of, ironically, I'm more okay with Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU as Doom than I am with the Russo brothers coming back. And again, it's not that, I'm actually glad it's them and not, a random. But I just thought, like, if I'm them, it's big shoes to fill, even though it's your own shoes. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's go back to the movie list. So yeah, we started the Avengers movie marathon with Ultron because we had just watched Avengers Assemble, as it's technically called in the UK, for stupid reasons. Then we watched Infinity War the next night. Not much to say about Infinity War other than it is phenomenal. I remember I saw it in the cinema, midnight showing, and then a week or so, maybe just a few days later, I took my son to see it. Now, at that time, he would have been, so what year did that come out? 2018. I think he would only have been 5 or 6. But he was a huge Spider-Man fan, and he'd seen some of the MCU, but not all of it. Took him to see Infinity War, and I didn't tell him anything about it. And at the end, obviously, when Spider-Man gets dusted, spoilers, he saw his hero just, snapped by Thanos and dusted. And then I didn't tell him, oh, don't worry, he'll come back in the next movie, because I'm like, no, who knows? I've not seen the next movie. So we're leaving, and I've got, I'll need to put it up on screen sometime. But I've got a picture of him sitting on a bench in a wee atrium area at the cinema, having just watched Infinity War, having just seen his hero, Spider-Man, dusted and dead. And he's just sitting there with just this really defeated and deflated look on his face. It's hilarious. But then fast forward to, a year or so later, and we're watching Endgame, and then Spider-Man comes back, and the wee guy just loses his it was quite adorable. It's quite adorable. But yeah, Infinity War, perfect movie. It's such a even though it's 2.5 hours, I think, it's so fast paced. It just zips along. It's such a pace. It's phenomenal. We've got somebody new in the chat. Who's this? What do we have? We've got Devoy. How are we doing? Hey, thanks very much for tuning in. How are we doing? You've not missed that much. Slowly getting through the movies I've watched in July, and then we concluded our Avengers movie marathon with Endgame. Here's the kicker: when I first saw Endgame in the cinema, again, it was a midnight showing, and that's 3+ hour movie, almost 3.5 hour movie. I remember coming out of that and feeling a little bit underwhelmed, like the tiniest bit underwhelmed. One of my mates who had went to a midnight showing, but in a different part of Glasgow, who he messaged me and just to see what I thought, and I told him that, and he just replied and just was like, with LOL face, like ROFL, rolling on the floor, laughing, smiley face, because he was like, "You're just tired. Like, you'll see it again, and you'll agree that it's a masterpiece." And he was exactly right. I saw it again, like on a regular time showing a couple of days later, and loved it. It is a masterpiece. I think I was just like tired from the midnight showing, and to this day, 5-ish years later, 5 years later to this day, that same friend, every time I see him, he still holds that over to me. He's like, "Remember that time you thought in the Endgame was underwhelming?" So I'm pretty sure if he outlasts me and I'm on my deathbed and he comes to visit me on my deathbed, he will lean into me and he'll say, "Remember that time you thought Endgame was underwhelming?" So, JP, if you're watching this, yes, I was a fool. So, Endgame, masterpiece. Can't say much more than that. Cheekster, let's see, Infinity War was my favourite MCU movie. Saw it at BFI IMAX, plus 2 other IMAX cinemas, including midnight double bill with Endgame opening night. A midnight double bill with those two? Oh, so you probably watched Infinity War at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Had a wee half-hour break, and then went straight on to watch Endgame. Is that probably what you did? I did something similar with Dune this year. Did the double bill of Dune Parts 1 and Parts 2. This was actually at my local Odeon, because Cineworld wasn't doing midnight showings for reasons. But we'll not get into Cineworld too much. I'm one of the few people who don't like the Dune movies, but I did want to give it another try. I saw the first Dune when it came out in the cinema. Not the first Dune. I saw Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1 in the cinema. Didn't enjoy it. Then when I saw Part 2 was coming out and they were doing a double bill, I thought, do you know what? I'll give it a second try. I'll go to the double bill, I'll watch Part 1, give it another try, and then that will lead straight on to Part 2. And didn't like Part 1 for the second time, and didn't like Dune Part 2 either. Although the score for both of them is brilliant, especially Part 2. I've actually got I've got a video coming out. I think, did I record it? I've not recorded it yet, but I've got the vinyl for. Is it? Can you see it in there? You can't see it in there. Just like to the right of that, underneath the Deadpool and Wolverine, or behind the Deadpool and Wolverine, showing behind the Deadpool and Wolverine sleeve is the Dune Part 2 one. That's a brilliant score. That's one of my favourite recent Hans Zimmer scores is Dune Part 2. Let's see, Devoy. I'm sure I asked you this last time, but is that how I'm saying? Am I saying that right? Devoy. Infinity War and Endgame are by far the best movies. Absolute perfection. Yep, can't really argue with that. They are pretty phenomenal. They are probably, if I was to do an MCU ranking, would they be the top 2? I think they would be. I think Endgame and then Infinity War. Yeah, they would be. I'll keep bumping the mic. They would be the best, yeah. Correct. 6 hours of Avengers movies. That would be pretty cool. I'd happily do that. But when I did the Dune double bill, I am actually quite glad that was the Odeon and not Cineworld, because my local Odeon is an Odeon Lux. And that's, the big comfy recliner chairs, whereas my local Cineworld doesn't have reclining chairs. So 6 hours for that would be difficult. Similarly, last year, I think it was last September, Odeon did a triple bill of the Lord of the Rings movies, the 3 extended editions. There's a video of that on my channel somewhere from last year. So they showed all 3 extended editions of the Lord of the Rings movies back to back to back. It was like 11 a.m. was the Fellowship of the Ring, and then it was like 3:30 p.m. I think was the Two Towers, and then it was 8:30, I think, for Return of the King. And again, that was at Glasgow Quay Odeon, because East Kilbride Odeon wasn't showing the three of them back to back, but the key was, and it was a Lux screen with the big recliner chairs. There's no chance in hell I would have been able to spend like 12 hours in the cinema if it wasn't for the reclining chairs. So as much as I love Cineworld and hope they don't go bankrupt, and I'm a card carrying unlimited member and have been since 1999, comfier chairs would be nice. So anytime I'm doing a movie marathon, if it's an all-day thing especially, I would choose the Lux seats at the Odeon over the regular seats at Cineworld. Now, I know that Cineworld, the VIP screen at Cineworld in Glasgow city centre, in Glasgow Renfrew Street, does have reclining chairs. I haven't been there in quite a while because that screen is just usually for the VIP experience, where it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet beforehand. That's actually quite good. I'll need to try that again, actually. Yeah, anyway, getting sidetracked. Devoy, they should re-release them in cinemas as a double feature. Yes, 100% would watch, definitely be up for that. But as I said, I would probably splurge and just pay to go to the Odeon just to have comfier seats. Okay, let's jump back into the list. What did we watch after Endgame? A couple of days later, went to the cinema with my partner and we saw Longlegs. This was a bit of a surprise. I knew nothing about this going in. I knew it was a Nicolas Cage serial killer movie. I didn't see the trailer. I purposely didn't watch the trailer because I thought, ooh, it's on today. I know nothing about this movie other than it's called Longlegs. It's got Nicolas Cage in it and it's a serial killer movie. Let's go. It was a random weekday, I think, or weekend where we didn't have any of the kids. So my partner and I went to see that. It was okay. It looked great. Like the look of it, the cinematography, the feel of it, the framing was very kind of like Carpenter-esque. Like there's so many shots where it's like, you know, you've got the main character here, but it's like a darker background. Ooh, let's try something. Hey Google, turn off the studio lights. Ooh, there we go. So it's a darker background. Can I bring these lights down as well without having to get up? Let's see. Yep. Let's make it a little bit darker. Yeah, so in Longlegs, like so many of the shots are framed in such a way that it's a darker background and oh wait, the camera's just automatically bumped the ISO up. Right, that's kind of messing with the plan. Let's go back. Yeah, so in Longlegs, the framing and stuff, like she's sitting, so many shots, like she's sitting there or standing in a hallway and it's a darker background with a doorway and you're so expecting something to jump out or to appear kind of Michael Myers style. And more often than not, it doesn't, but like that suspense just keeps you on edge. So I thought that was very cool. I thought the way they did that was very cool. The music was eerie. The Nicolas Cage obviously was very eerie. Let me I'll put my lights back up actually. Yeah, so Longlegs. Hang on, that one goes there. And that one over there goes up full. That seems about right. There we go. Very eerie. Nick Cage he isn't in it much, but when he is in it, he's creepy creepy AF, as the kids say. Yeah, that was good. Let's see. When you total movie recall, Longlegs is my favourite movie of the year so far. Ooh, that's interesting. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. If you dropped Cage's character in the middle of Gotham City, where he would probably fit right in, overhype on the scare factor wasn't great though. Yes, that's probably that probably ties into like my kind of liking it but not loving it. Even though, like I said, I hadn't seen the trailer, I had heard a lot of the hype for it. And that was maybe why I was a little bit underwhelmed with it. But as we know from Endgame, sometimes I am very wrong with my underwhelming feeling from movies. Cheekster watched Longlegs twice at the cinema. Ooh, really enjoyed it the second viewing. My friend didn't think much of it. Said it was a mediocre 5 out of 10, which I don't agree with personally. I didn't do a review on it, but what did I score it? So on, what have I said there? On Long, yeah, 3 out of 5, 6 out of 10. Yeah, maybe I'd probably go 7 out of 10 for Longlegs. I'd probably like give it an extra star or an extra half a star. I'd go 7 out of 10 for Longlegs, yeah. Cinema. Just being a fan of the dark detective subgenre, True Detective, 7 nailed it. Oh, 7 is such a good movie. Such a good movie. When is that box set coming out? The literal box set that was it feels like it was announced and I pre-ordered it ages ago, but it just seems to keep getting delayed and delayed and delayed. Like for any of my physical media collectors, you'll know what I'm talking about. The 7 4K special edition that comes with the box, you know, the what's in the box. I don't think it comes with a replica severed head of Gwyneth Paltrow, but I think they've missed a trick by not doing that, because that would be funny AF, as the kids say. December, I think. Yeah, but like that's a delay though, isn't it? Like surely that wasn't the plan all along. Like it feels like it was like last December that they announced that and you know, people pre-ordered it. Anyway, let's jump back into the list. So after Longlegs, wait, why are they both? I must have got the dates wrong there. We didn't see Longlegs and Despicable Me 4 on the same day. That must have been the next day. Yeah, Despicable Me 4 took the two younger kids, 7 and 10 years old, to go and see this. They were quite excited to go and see it. They like Despicable Me. They like the Minions movies. Who doesn't? This is definitely the weakest of the franchise. So, what is there, 6 movies in this franchise? Yeah, so we've got 4 Despicable Me movies, 2 Minions movies. So yeah, 6 movies in the Despicable Me franchise. This is definitely the weakest one. The Minions, as always, steal the show. I kind of wish they had just made this a Minions movie. I definitely enjoy the Minions movies more than Despicable Me, other than the first one, maybe, I think. Like the side plot for Despicable Me 4, where the Minions are kind of like becoming superheroes, at least the four main Minions are you know, becoming superheroes. Like, I would have like, I know a lot of people said that like they didn't like that aspect of it, but I kept, every time they cut back to Gru and Gru's story, I just wanted them to go back to the Minions story, and it made me think, I wish that they had just kept that storyline for Minions 3, like for their full movie. I wish they had just kept that as the storyline. Yeah, it wasn't great. 6 out of 10 I would probably give that. Also, to call back to what we were chatting about earlier on with voices, so Sofia Vergara is the voice of one of the bad guys in this. She is obviously famously in Modern Family. As I said earlier on, my youngest, she's 7, she likes Modern Family. So when we realised in the cinema that the Sofia Vergara was one of the voice of the bad guys, the two of us just burst out laughing. And then any time that character said anything, we just looked at each other and were like, Modern Family. So that experience was good fun in the cinema. Like that experience with Beth, with the 7-year-old. Like anytime Sofia Vergara spoke, because she's got such a unique voice and such a unique cadence to her speech. Yeah, that was good fun. The movie, not so much, but that weekend of like, you know, moment with my youngest was good. Let's see, what else do we have here? Comments wise, Devoy, when the postie delivers it, are you going to shout at him what's in the box? Probably not. My postie probably hates me because I get loads of stuff delivered to the house, both as a physical media collector and someone who is self-employed and works from home half the time. Yeah, the postie, the Amazon delivery, the FedEx guy, the UPS guy, the DX guy, the Every guy. Ooh, Every. Yeah, they all hate me because I get loads of stuff delivered to the house. So I probably won't shout that at him. But of all the delivery guys, the Royal Mail postie guy is probably the nicest, or the least grumpy looking. Right, let's move on. Let's see what's next. So we kind of like jumped around. We kind of jump around with the MCU movies here. After we did the Avengers movie marathon, the two younger kids, again 7 and 10 years old, they kept asking about the Winter Soldier, and even though they've definitely seen all of the MCU movies up to Spider-Man Far From Home, they can't really remember some of them. we did for their YouTube channel. My kids had a YouTube channel during COVID. So what was that, 4 years ago? So they would have been like 4, 7, and 10 at the time. No, yeah, something like that. Anyway, they had their own wee YouTube channel during COVID. Anything to keep them busy. And we did a Marvel movie marathon, and they did kind of wee mini reviews of each of the movies. So they've definitely seen all the MCU movies, but they couldn't remember the Winter Soldier that much. And I kept saying it's really good. It's genuinely one of the best MCU movies. Probably top 5 MCU. Winter Soldier, definitely top 10, maybe top 5. So they wanted to watch that because they couldn't remember the storyline. So even though we had just watched, the Avengers movies like 3 days prior, they wanted to watch that, so we watched it. And yeah, as I've said, just checking like my wee notes here, definitely a top 5 MCU movie. I remember thinking this at the time: if you take away Marvel from it, take away the super soldier element from it, it's a great spy action thriller in and of itself. You don't need, you take the superhero element, take the Marvel element away. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a great spy thriller action movie, kind of like a throwback to like this 70s spy thrillers almost, but with like modern day action. Yeah, it's such a great movie. And to think that was like, I don't think it was the first movie the Russos ever directed. I think they made 1 or 2 movies before that, but I think it was definitely their first big budget movie. Yeah, I mean, what a start in the MCU. The Winter Soldier. I remember reading somewhere that part of the reason they got the job was they directed an episode. Well, they've directed many episodes of Community, but I think it's the paintball episode of Community. The Russo brothers directed, and I think that was part of the reason where the kind of Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel thought that they could handle a big budget action movie. Which, if that's true, that's brilliant to think. Like an episode of Community where they're playing paintball but pretending that it's like an action movie leads to those directors directing an action movie. That's brilliant. It's kind of like the story of Edgar Wright and Spaced, like the episodes of Spaced were filmed thematically like, a zombie movie or like an action movie, like the paintball in Spaced is kind of a similar deal. Yeah, Winter Soldier, probably top 5 MCU. Let's see. Cheekstar loved the Winter Soldier and Civil War, aka Avengers 2.5. Yeah, Civil War is very much. I mean, it's an Avengers movie. It doesn't have Thor, it doesn't have Hulk, but other than that, it's an Avengers movie. Right. Let's see. Let's crack on. After after Winter Soldier, we went to the cinema to see Twisters. It's decent enough. The original one from like the 90s with Bill Paxton, it's okay. It wasn't like a favourite of mine, but like it seems to have developed a bit of a cult following. This one was good, decent enough as well. Glenn Powell's very much having a moment of late, and I'm all for that. More Glenn Powell, the better. So Twisters, yep, it was okay. Moving on. Civil War. So there's a review for this on my channel. I went to the cinema to see it. When was it? February when it came out, I think. So I'll link that in the description for anyone who might be watching the replay of this live stream. But I got the steelbook. It's actually the Italian steelbook. Oh man, I forgot to do an unboxing of that. Damn it. Is it here? No, it's next door. Yeah, it's. I really wanted to watch it again, and my partner didn't see it at the cinema. So, and then she saw the trailer and she saw the steelbook, and she was like, "No, let's watch that. And it still holds up. It's still a really good movie. I think I mentioned in my review that it got a lot of mixed reviews from within the USA, but I think outside the USA, it's been better, more well received, better received. Not to knock anyone who's watching from the States. I just think when you're, it's a movie about, modern day politics in America. So I think, obviously and understandably for people living in America, they're going to react to that differently. But yeah, solid movie, Civil War. After Civil War, so just a day or two before, went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. I wanted to rewatch the original Deadpool. I didn't do the double bill. I didn't do Deadpool and then Deadpool 2 because I feel like I watched Deadpool 2 4 or 5 times in the last year, mainly for the Juggernaut scene. But yeah, I hadn't seen the first Deadpool in a while, and yep, it's still great. It surprised me how low budget that movie is, not in a kind of like it looks cheap way, but they're clearly not playing with a big budget. Like the fight scenes are quite down and dirty and quite gritty. There's nothing, obviously in Deadpool 2, I think they've got more money and they're a little bit flashier with them. But the kind of lore is, I think the legend is for the final fight, the bit where he forgets his bag of guns in the cab in Depinder's taxi. Is it Depinder? Anyway, in the taxi, in the cab, when he forgets his bag, apparently that was a last minute rewrite because the budget was cut, or there was a misunderstanding with the budget. Like there was supposed to be a bigger battle, but they didn't have the money, so they kind of like just used that as a storyline element. I think that's just brilliant. Yeah, first Deadpool is still holds up. It still holds up. So quick Deadpool ranking movies. Then I'm going to put Deadpool and Wolverine at number 1. That's the best of the 3 Deadpool movies. I'm going to put Deadpool 1 in second place and Deadpool 2 in last place. Not that Deadpool 2 is bad, much like I'm saying it's not like Ultron is bad. It's just, the 4th best Avengers movie, and Deadpool 2 is the 3rd best Deadpool movie. Yeah. Let's jump into the comments. Let's see. Cheekstar, loved Winter Soldier and Civil War, aka Avengers 2.5. Wait, why did that highlight itself? Because I'd already showed that. That's a wee glitch in that programme, so I'll need to take a note of that. Devoy, my daughter turns 8 next week and we're going to be starting the MCU soon. She recognises all the characters from cartoons, etc. So can't wait for her to experience the movies for the first time. That's going to be good. That's going to be good. Enjoy that, mate. Enjoy that. I watched Civil War twice at the cinema, Dolby Cinema and standard formats. Enjoyed it. Yeah, and the I don't think I mentioned this earlier on, but the 4K transfer for Civil War is really, really good. I don't have like the most high-end setup here at home for watching movies. I do have I've got a pop-up projector screen. I think it's 100 inches, and the like Panasonic 450. Is it 450D? The Panasonic's, a Panasonic 4K Blu-ray player. I've got a very basic sound system. It's just like a cheap LG soundbar. So I can't really comment on the audio quality of the disc, but visually, the 4K disc for Civil War is quite stunning. It's quite stunning. Yeah, really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that. Dealboy saying, what do you think of Glenn Powell's Batman rumour? It's the first time I've heard that rumour, so let me think about that while I read the rest of the comment. I think he'd make a great Bruce Wayne, and he's got the jaw for the cowl. Yeah, I'd be here for that. He was in The Dark Knight Rises. Glenn Powell. He's the when Bane like goes into Wall Street, or whatever Gotham's version of Wall Street is, when he goes into like the stock exchange, the kind of the yuppie guy who he like grabs and like bashes his head into the desk. What's the line, I think? So Glenn Powell's character says to Bane, "What are you here for? There's no money." And then Bane says, "Really? Why are you here?" That's my Bane impersonation. Don't all applause at once. Yeah, so he's actually in The Dark Knight Rises, so he's in a Batman universe already, so maybe, who knows? Cheekstar, I watched Deadpool, Deadpool 2, then Logan, all in 4K in 3 days leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine. Twice last Saturday, IMAX with laser, then 2D. IMAX with laser, 3D. Yeah, so I'll get to that when I get to the Deadpool and Wolverine section of the live stream. But it would be great. I would have, if I had time to watch Logan beforehand as well, that would have been good. But I didn't. So we just had time to watch one of them, and we chose Deadpool 1. The audio track for Civil War was very good, even in just 7.1 standard cinema format. That's good to know. Again, I feel it's one of those things. Like I feel like, on the one hand, I do want to like get a proper Dolby Atmos sound setup at home, but on the other hand, it's a tiny house. It's a tiny, like, semi-detached house. Like we share a wall. We share there's a living room wall between our living room and our neighbour's living room. I don't want to like have anything too loud. So as much as I would like to have a better sound setup, I think it's fine. It's fine for the room that I'm in. The fact that I, get to have a 100-inch projector screen that we can pop up to watch movies, and that my partner hasn't thrown that out because it's a big monstrosity that kind of like stands up in the corner behind a bookcase that's full of steelbooks. I think I'm doing okay just by getting away with that. If I was to add a massive sound system, that might push it over the edge. But you never know. Christmas is soon. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Let's go back to the list. So after Deadpool, let me take that comment off. The next day, or not even the next day, that night actually. So the 24th, which was the Wednesday, midnight that night, so technically the Thursday, went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Probably most anticipated movie of 2023. I think that's what I said in my review as well. Got my cup, which is over in the kitchen. Got my Wolverine cup. It was the second last Wolverine cup that they had. They had completely sold out of the Deadpool cups. They didn't have the baby Deadpool popcorn buckets in stock yet, so I couldn't buy one of them, although it's £30 or something for that, so I'd probably... No, that's a lie, I would have bought it if it was there. But I got my Wolverine cup, so happy enough with that. Yeah, I absolutely loved Deadpool and Wolverine. Gave it 9 out of 10. It's the first movie since I've started reviewing movies, since I started this channel last June, I think it was. It's the first movie I've given 9 out of 10 to, and deservedly so. It's bloody brilliant. Really, really, really enjoyed this movie. Hoping to catch it again in the cinema before it disappears from cinemas. But I didn't see it in IMAX on opening night because they were only doing 3D showings, and I'm not a huge fan of 3D, especially when it's the only choice they give you. So I would have loved to have seen IMAX 2D, but they can make a little extra money by doing IMAX 3D. So financially, from a business point of view, I get why they're doing that. But it seemed like an odd choice. Like I thought cinemas and studios had kind of accepted, yeah, unless it's Avatar, we're not really going to bother with 3D because people don't want it. But for some reason, they decided to do it with Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm pretty sure it wasn't shot with 3D cameras, so it wasn't like the intention from the get-go. It just seemed like an odd choice, and it's hard to not really kind of think, was it just a financial choice to make to release it in 3D as well? So yeah, wasn't a fan of the fact that I couldn't see IMAX 2D. Cheekster in the comments, IMAX 3D was superior completed to 2D IMAX. Compared. IMAX 3D was superior compared to 2D IMAX. Do you like 3D movies in general though? Or do you normally not like 3D movies, but this one kind of sold it for you? Because for me, I don't like 3D movies in general. There has been a couple when where the 3D does make the movie even more enjoyable. I remember Avatar obviously being a good example of that. Beowulf, I loved that in 3D. I can't really think of anything else. I hated the Hobbit movies, and I saw that in 3D high frame rate, and it looked awful. And the movies weren't great either. But hey ho, there you go. Let's see. Oh, Gareth's joined the stream. How we doing, my man? 4 stars is about right for Deadpool and Wolverine. Are we talking about? So 4.5 stars, my man, because it's 9 out of 10. So 4.5 stars out of 5 stars, or 9 out of 10. Yeah, I definitely. Oh, what's happening there? Something's glitching. Whoa! Stay off. Cheekster, for some reason, that comment wanted to come back. Not the biggest 3D fan. The 3D for Deadpool was so good. Do you know, my girlfriend hasn't seen it, and she does want to go and see it. I'll ask her if she wants to see it in 3D or normal and let her choose. So we might end up going to see it in 3D. So, watch this space. Right. After Deadpool and Wolverine, the next day, or the same day, that evening, the youngest kid, the 7-year-old, is going through a bit of a disaster movie phase right now. She watched 2012 not that long ago and loved it. She really likes what's the Rock, the Dwayne Johnson movie, San Andreas. She really likes San Andreas. So does the oldest kid. But I think she fancies The Rock, or at least did fancy The Rock. But yeah, so the youngest one is going through a bit of a disaster movie phase. So we thought, let's show it the day after tomorrow. So we did. It's okay. It's enjoyable enough. The CGI wolves are still atrociously bad. Some of the overall CGI hasn't held up that well. Jake Gyllenhaal is so young in this movie. When was it? 2004? Oh my God. That movie's 20 years old. Feel old. Yeah. But yeah, it's enjoyable enough. Let's see what's Gareth saying. It's Disaster Movie Month on my channel. Ah, is it? Wait, is it? But when you sent me the list of movies to potentially do a watch along with, they weren't disaster movies. It was action movies. It was like Rapid Fire from Brandon Lee and things like that. Or am I getting that mixed up with something else? Anyway, yeah, Disaster Movie Month on Gareth's channel. And the day after tomorrow is a disaster movie. The South Park episode that takes the piss out of the day after tomorrow is one of the best pieces of satire ever. South Park is brilliant. It's so clever, even though it's like, crude animation and toilet humour. But it's really clever. The scene, I don't know what season or what episode it is, but the South Park episode where they're taking the piss out of the day after tomorrow, the genius of that is, I'm pretty sure, they just took a scene from the day after tomorrow and word for word played that scene out with the South Park characters, like Stan's dad, who's a geologist or something like that. So he's kind of like the Dennis Quaid character. They just do the scene word for word, and it just shows you the ridiculousness of the dialogue that's in the day after tomorrow, because the exact same dialogue when it's in a South Park episode is just ridiculous because it's ridiculous. But yeah, that was funny. Gareth, there was 2 pics. Oh, I'll double check the message, mate. I'm pretty sure I only saw 1 pic. My bad. Let's see. D-Boy. I like 3D for the novelty. It makes me feel like a little kid again. Try not to watch a movie for the first time in 3D, but on repeat viewing, it's fun. Yeah, I that's probably where I would land with it. Like, I definitely didn't want to see Wolverine and Deadpool? Why am I flipping that? I definitely didn't want to see Deadpool and Wolverine for the first time in 3D. But if we go and see it again, I'd be okay with seeing it in 3D for the second time. Not the first time, but definitely for the second time. Watched Fury Road the other day in 3D. It was loads of fun. Ooh, is that getting re-released in the cinemas in 3D, or did you watch it at home in 3D? Yeah, Fury Road. I had such a, not a bad time, but Furiosa was so disappointing. Like, I haven't brought myself to kind of like watch and enjoy Fury Road again yet. Furiosa was that bad. Let's see, Dealboy at home. Oh, that's interesting. You don't really hear people talking about watching 3D movies at home. I'm curious what kind of setup you've got. Like, do you often watch movies in 3D at home, or was it just a random one-off? That's interesting. Okay, let's go back to the list. So, the day after tomorrow, and then we had a bit of a Spider-Man movie marathon. I think all the kids go through a Spider-Man phase, especially young boys go through a Spider-Man phase. I know I did. I know my son did, and still is. So we were actually we're at a caravan holiday this week, and at the beach during the day. Weather was okay, you know, go to the arcades, playing in the park and everything, and that's brilliant. And then, you know, you go out to the caravan, get cleaned up, have dinner, and then you settle down to watch a movie. Another shout out for physical media, because you know, at the caravan we go to, it's my mum and dad's caravan. Shout out to mum and dad, who don't actually know I have a YouTube channel, so they might never see this, but they let us go to their caravan whenever we want, and that's always good fun. It's in South Ayrshire. It's not on the beach, but it's, you know, it's literally a stone's throw. Well, you need like a professional thrower could hit the beach. Anyway, it's like a 2-minute walk from the beach. You can see the beach from the caravan. It's very nice, and it's great that we get to use it for our family. But there's no internet there, and I'm kind of happy about that, because it forces kids to not be stuck to their devices and, you know, go and play and have fun on the beach, on the pier, playing in the park. You know, it's great, and they're happy to do that. You know, there's not like they're glued to their devices. They'll happily, you know, not be on their devices when they're told to. I've went on a tangent here. What am I talking about? But yeah, so I remember a year or two ago, I collected all my DVDs from my steelbooks, because a lot of steelbooks come with, you know, either a Blu-ray and a DVD, although now it's a 4K disc and a Blu-ray. But anyway, all of the DVD copies and Blu-ray copies of movies that I have had doublers for, took those discs out, put them in a big wallet, and just left them at the caravan. So they're always there. So whenever we're choosing a movie down at the caravan, you know, we're not looking at the 4K and the steelbooks, and we're not scrolling through Netflix or Prime and Disney. You know, the kids are looking through the wallet, the kind of the DJ style disc wallet of all of the DVDs. And so yeah, so they chose Spider-Man, which is a great movie. I remember seeing it in the cinema. And then straight after that, it's the summer holidays. It was maybe 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I think. Or was this the next day? It was the next day. So the next day, the next night for movie night, we watched Spider-Man 2. And Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 definitely still holds up. It's one of the best comic book superhero movies ever made. That train fight scene, oh my God. I remember watching that in the cinema, and that was a cinema moment. Like, you know, the Matrix helicopter scene, Terminator 2, the Transformers, Spider-Man 2. There's those action moments in the cinema, like, stick with you. And the train scene when he fights Doc Ock, and then he's like, you know, that's definitely top tier cinema. Let's quickly jump back into the comments. Let's see. D-Voice says, got a projector at home that supports 3D. Folks have a caravan in Skelmorley. I know where you are. Ours is down in South Ayrshire. It's down in the Maidens. I say ours, my parents. And nothing better than a caravan holiday. Do you know, it's great, like, especially for the younger kids, because they have just as much fun. See, as long as the weather's nice, which, to be fair, in Scotland isn't that often. But like an expensive holiday, like over in Spain or Portugal or whatever, like, the kids genuinely have just as much fun at the caravan, as long as it's decent weather. If it's raining constantly and you're stuck in the caravan all day, not so much. But as long as the weather's nice, I genuinely think the kids have just as much fun. Yeah, anyway, so Spider-Man 2, quality movie. We did not complete the Raimi trilogy, not because Spider-Man 3 is terrible, but it's not great. What was next? So I think later on that evening, that's what it was. It was that evening where the kids had a super late night. So we watched Spider-Man 2, and that finished 11 o'clock or something like that. And then thought, you know, let's just put another movie on. Or was it the next day? I may be getting the dates confused. Anyway, so the kids flipped through, chose a movie, and they chose Monsters, Inc. Kind of mid-level Pixar for me, Monsters, Inc. It's okay. My overriding memory of Monsters, Inc. bizarrely is I remember when it was coming out, the marketing, I think it focused on like the effects and the CG and how far that had come, talking about like the hair on Sully's body, like every individual hair was animated. And I remember thinking in the marketing campaign that was an odd thing to kind of like focus on, but you know, they were. So yeah, Monsters Inc. Watched that. Kids enjoyed it. It's okay. And then the last movie of July 2024 that we watched was The Lost City. It's on Netflix just now. I didn't see it in the cinema. My partner and our eldest, I think they did go to the cinema to see it. They said it was pretty decent. So kind of I had that on my to watch list on Netflix, and we were scrolling through trying to agree on something to watch, and that popped up because it was on my my watch list because I did want to see it. So everyone agreed on that, so we watched that. It was decent enough. I think as I've written there, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's kind of like a modern day Romancing the Stone. Not quite as good as them. The chemistry between Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. It's not that it's non-existent, but it wasn't like, it wasn't sparks flying, fireworks. It was just like, two attractive people with some relatively witty banter. The best thing about it was the extended Brad Pitt cameo. That was hilarious, but all of the beats of that section of the movie are in the trailer, so that was kind of spoiled. So yeah, that was, let's go back here. That was everything I watched in July. Pretty good month for movies. Many's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Trying to aim for one a day hasn't quite happened yet. But yeah, that was everything I watched in July. Let me jump into the comments if there's anything anyone is asking. I don't think there is. Okay, how long has that been? An hour and 37 minutes. Wow, that was way longer than I was anticipating. So I think I'll just wrap it up there, guys. As always, thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks very much for watching. I heard someone else say this on a live stream, so I'll say it. Hit the like button because it helps the YouTube algorithm, for anyone who's seen the terrible Space Jam 2 sequel. No, Space Jam sequel, which is Space Jam 2. Is it called 2? I think it's just called The New Legacy. Anyway, if you hit the like button, apparently that's good for, the algorithm for my videos. That would be fabulous. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this on a replay, if there's any of the movies that you watched as well. Did you agree? Did you disagree with the chat? What's coming up next for the channel, I think. So I'm probably going to do, I've got 1 or 2 Steelbook unboxings that I want to do, and then I've got a big, epic vinyl soundtrack unboxing, well, not unboxing, but showcase video, because Mondo had a sale last month, and yeah, I splurged a little bit, so that'll be on the channel. I've recorded that, I've not published it yet though, so that'll be on the channel hopefully at some point next week. And yeah, that's us, guys. Thanks for watching. I've been Jimmy, the Scottish Geek guy, and I will catch you in the next video. Wait, that's not the graphic I meant to show. That's the graphic that I put up if I have to go for a pee break during a live stream. So that was a false finish. This is the graphic that I meant to put up. Bye.